Yeah, so what does that mean? They bought all these cars and now they're going to get rid of them?
Yep.
That's crazy. In what, a year or two turnaround?
It's like 20,000 Teslas they're going to dump into the market.
But they only just bought them like a couple years ago or something like that.
Yeah, but that's the whole point. The whole point is that these cars are depreciating faster than they can keep up with. So, like, if you look at it from a financial standpoint, they bought all these Teslas, right? And they spent good money for them. And then in addition to the fact that they depreciate much faster than, let's say, the average used internal combustion engine vehicle, right? What's happening is Elon has been making price cuts all through 23, right?
Yep.
So every time they do, it affects the resale value. But these all these cars are on their books as assets. Mm-hmm. So every time he does that, they inadvertently lose money by the depreciating value reset on the vehicles, right?
I see. I didn't take it that way. I thought it was just that no one was renting them.
Oh, hold on one second. There's more to this.
Okay.
So also they say that due to dwindling demand a little bit, and in addition to that, they say that the cost of being able to maintain the vehicles is cheaper than the internal combustion engine. But every time that these vehicles sustain any damage, they're twice as expensive to repair.
Ugh. But one thing that I don't get is that, like, if I was going on a trip and I had to I had to get a car rental, I don't think I would ever opt for the EV option.
You remember the story that I told you when I rented one that one time?
Yeah.
What a nightmare.
Yeah.
So I'll recap the story just in case anybody's listening and hadn't heard this part.
Yeah.
So I have to go on a business trip. I fly into the Carolinas. I get out. It was in Charlotte. I walk into the garage. I have that President's Circle thing in Hertz, so where I can walk down any row. I can walk down this one row and pick anything in there. No. But hear what I'm saying. So I get there, and there's like 3 pickup trucks, and then there's like 17 Teslas.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, all right, you know what? Like, not that I wouldn't drive a pickup truck, but like, I have to go. I'm gonna put people in it, like, take them to lunch or whatever it is. So I'm like, all right, I'm not taking the pickup truck.
You rather look like an Uber driver.
Right. Well, I purposely didn't pick a white one because of it.
Yeah,
I picked the red one, so they knew I meant business.
Yeah, a little sporty.
And also in case there was any bloods out there. Just figured I'd be okay. I'd be okay. Never know. So listen. So I get this car. I start driving it. First off, it takes me forever because I'm not an intuitive, electric vehicle owner to figure out that you got to use this flying iPad that's in the middle to do everything, including adjust the mirrors and be able to control the seat. I got in it, my stuffings almost got chopped off, and I couldn't get the seat to go back, and I'm putting my hands down the side of the seats looking for I couldn't find anything. Finally, it dawned on me.
The seats are by the screen as well?
So finally it dawned on me that, like, oh, maybe I need to go into the iPad options to be able to try to move my seat back. And sure enough, I do, and I'm able to, get the steering wheel set and, all that stuff. All right, so forget about the experience driving the car. The point of the matter is that I took this car off the lot. I kind of knew how far I had to go, but there was that thought in my mind of like, well, how long is this battery going to last?
Yeah.
Right? I just don't know.
Well, also with the rentals, you got to bring back a regular car back with a full tank of gas.
Right.
So did you have to bring that car back with a full battery?
I didn't know what the hell to do. So here's the thing. So I didn't purposely, like I said, I don't purposely rent a vehicle. I just I just usually go down this one aisle and I can pick things. So I wasn't thinking that I had to like rent an EV, so I wasn't trying to figure it out. But basically how it works, now that I know, is if at the time, if you returned a vehicle that was above 75%, you had to do nothing. If you have a vehicle below 75%, you need to charge it back to above 75%.
You know what I
so
hate
like
about
think
that?
about it like this. Let's say I'm going half an hour away.
Yeah.
And they give me a vehicle because here's the little kick in the shorts. Apparently, most of these car rental companies now, they're saying that if they can give you a car that's anything over 75% battery life, that's acceptable.
Okay.
Right? So you get a car that has 80%, 82%, right? And you drive, now you're immediately under 75%. You got to bring this thing back.
Yeah.
So what does it mean? You got to go sit in a charging station For what? An hour?
Yeah, especially if you're waiting to go catch a flight.
40 minutes?
Yeah,
I have no idea.
Well, if you got to go catch a flight or something like that, then you're really pressing time.
You're not from this area. You don't know how much miles this thing has on the. You know, I mean,
No.
it does tell you, right?
You may not
Like,
be
we get it
familiar
there.
with just charging stations.
Right, and not only that, but then you have to go find one in an area you've never been to before.
Wait, well, when you return a rental car and the gas is $11 a gallon when you go to return a.
Right, but nobody does that.
but I know,
and for
but-
the people that
but-
do that, they deserve to get slapped.
No, but I understand that. But I'm saying, I'm saying that if you return your EV with 70% battery, what do
Yeah.
they charge you for
So
electric
all right,
power?
Yeah, all right. So I can't speak to everybody because like when I did the Hertz thing,
Mm-hmm.
I got it and had like 94%,
Yeah.
and I returned it at 78%. So it didn't affect me. I didn't know it.
No, I know, but like,
I was prepared for
do they-
Koenig to pay whatever it costs so that I didn't have to mess with
But
it.
do they upcharge the price of electric power if you come in under 75?
All right. So here's
You
how
know
it
what I'm
works.
saying?
Here's how I can tell you that like the last time I went to budget, they tried to put me into an electric vehicle, and I flat out said not
No.
gonna happen.
Yeah.
And with the deal with the electric thing was they can give you a vehicle that was over 75% or 75% or above. You had to bring it back. If it's below 65%, I believe it's 65%. If it's below 65%, then they charge you like I think $35. And if you bring it back,
So it's flat rate.
so no, it's so between 65% and I think it's like
50?
no, it's like 20 or something like
Okay.
that. Then it's like $35. But if you go under that, like under 20 or under 10 or whatever it is, then they charge you $70. So then it's more money than.
Wow.
So here's the thing. My whole thing is that it's just far too inconvenient to rent EVs in my experience.
I mean, listen, I don't know. I when I've shopped for rental cars or whatever, when you look at that stuff, the EVs are normally on equivalent pricing with like a small size SUV or something like that. Like it's
Okay.
not it's not your first or second, third option. It's like it's a little higher priced up there.
Well, let me tell you what's been happening lately.
What?
For the past 6 months, maybe longer, 8 months, every time I log into, it doesn't matter if it's Hertz or budget.
You check more than I do.
Yeah, right. I travel quite a bit, right?
Yeah.
So like every time I go there, one of the they're always trying to push me into an electric vehicle.
Right.
It says EV or something, EV or
As the cheapest
Tesla,
option, though?
as one of the cheapest options.
Oh wow.
Well, and not always. Like sometimes it will say like, the economy thing, the thing that nobody would rent, and if you rent it, you're renting it purely because you're the only one going, and you don't care if you die.
Look, I'm the guy who rents the economy, the Nissan Versa or something.
No, but what I'm
similar.
saying, but there's a level below that.
Is there?
It's the worst below that. I don't know that everybody has it, but I know that like sometimes I go there and I'm like, it's like the mystery car, right? You don't know what it's gonna be.
You end up in a Kia Soul.
No, that's actually more of like a what do they call that? Intermediate now.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
They're really lowering these standards.
You have no idea.
What do you have to do to get a Camry?
You got to bleed a little bit on the counter. I don't know, but so here's the thing. So one of the first options that have been for 6 or 8 months is they have the mystery car, then they have the economy car, and then it's like before you even get into like the intermediate, which is like the Corolla stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That stuff. They have the EVs position now, price wise.
Wow.
And it's because nobody's renting the damn things.
I wouldn't want to.
When I go there, and this happens even in California.
Yeah.
You would think that if the highest state of
Most EVs.
right, you would think that people would just whatever. But the truth is, most people probably renting a car there, they're not from that state. They don't know anything about it. They don't want to touch it. But that's what's happening. I think people are far too inconvenienced with EVs, and so because I would imagine if Hertz, even if they had depreciating values, if like everybody was willing to pay for an EV, they would keep it because it will generate the revenue. That's not happening.
No.
No.
Well, what's even funnier is that they're saying that, hey, this didn't work out. Now we're just going to buy regular ICE cars,
Yeah.
Like, that isn't that crazy?
No, I don't think so. I think it becomes.
Well, how do you think it looks? Like,
How does it look? I mean, I think it looks just fine.
Okay.
Well, here's why. I think it looks completely reasonable and totally logical. And I think the whole entire problem I have with the agenda for the government to push EVs as hard and fast as they are is that it's not logical. Not that I have anything against EVs. Not that I have anything against, clean energy, right? That's not the point. The point is there is a way to get there with that use of hybrid. We've talked about this so many times.
Doubt.
And the fact that they want to go into these things, it's just, I personally think that if this was not government driven, this would be a bubble that would crash harder than anything we've ever seen before.
Speaking of hybrid, you saw the Prius won Motor Trend Car of the Year?
It's good looking too.
It's not bad looking, yeah. It's better looking than
I like how you defended everybody out there that's going to roast me in the comments.
No, I mean, it's not bad looking, but it's better looking than any other previous Prius.
I saw one in the lane, in the HOV lane the other day. It's not a bad looking car.
There's a lot of speculation that they're going to make a GR Prius.
I mean, I don't know what you do with that.
Listen, I mean, they can probably get a lot of power out of a hybrid, powertrain. So
I guess. I mean, I guess if they use it in the hybrid assist the same way, they kind of like.
Or
like
they use the same engine that's in the new Toyota Crown.
I don't know, and I'm not knowledgeable on it.
I think it's an inline six or a V6 hybrid, and it comes with a lot of power. So they already have that platform. Maybe they just throw that in there.
Yeah, but the Prius has to be able to excel as far as its mileage. That's the one thing it's always done from the time it's been created. Like, it's been able to really get that mileage, that 50-plus range, whatever,
We had a podcast like a year ago where I think the main point of it was like, why were hybrids so skipped over? And like, it still rings true, don't you think?
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
It's crazy in a different way.
If that came out, I mean,
I understand.
That's like the perfect daily driver.
I understand. It's decent looking. I mean,
first of all, those renders are great.
Yeah. But the problem is they're making it look like all the cool things. It looks like it has. I know what wheels it has on it, but it looks like it has oversteers on it, doesn't it?
Kind of, yeah.
So here's my thing. My thing is that the whole problem with EV is that the illogical portion of thinking that they could just flat out replace every vehicle without the infrastructure, without the ability to charge them. I mean, battery technology, for them to really take over all modes of transportation, would have to get so much more efficient. Think about it like this. And I know that Doug from when we did the Honda podcast,
yep, he
argued this a little bit, but like, I still say for the average everyday person, you're assuming that they're going to plug in the thing. Sometimes I don't remember to charge my phone.
Yeah.
Every night. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, and like, it's funny. It's like I speak to Troy. He has a Tesla, and he'll say, crap, I had to take my wife's car because
Troy lives in California.
Yes. And he does it for an economical thing. It has to do with gas, right?
Yeah.
But he's he's gotten to the point where he's used to the car enough he doesn't mind. But what I'm saying is, there'll be times where it's like, I had to take my wife's car because I forgot to charge mine.
Oh, man.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I guess what I'm saying is that one day, there's going to be electric vehicles, and the battery costs for replacements when you need to will have come down enough that, it might be, let's say it's an $8,000 or $10,000 battery swap, but you only have to change it every 200,000 miles, like changing an engine, right? That to me is a reasonable thing. One day, you're going to pull into the parking lot and park your car at a restaurant, and you're going to go in to get something to eat. And the car is going to have, and the parking lots are all going to have wireless charging built in.
Yeah, underneath it or
right?
something. Yep.
And there's going to be a very small fee for this because we've made the grid super efficient. And you're going to, while you eat, your car is just going to charge. So no matter where you go and where you park, your car is just going to charge, right? We're not even remotely to that point.
Yeah. Did you see that they're going to start making the electric assist highway lanes in certain places?
I saw that. Is it like the third rail? Like,
yeah, I don't know.
Do you accidentally, like, if you jump in there or walk across because your EV died or something like that, like, do you get electrocuted from walking on the street?
Maybe.
I don't know. I think this is a really... here's what I think the most impactful thing about this Hertz announcement is. Like, let's read between the lines. This is a company that is driven by profit, right? They're not going to make a decision based off of agenda. They're going to make a decision based off of hard facts.
Yep.
Profitability. Is this sustainable? Can I maintain this? Do people want it? It is the most large-scale focus group that I think we can really use to determine, is the country ready? What's the really financial impact to the average consumer? And what is the actual demand? What do people want to drive? And I think this is the most telling sign of, hey, guess what? This is a bubble that's going to burst.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I also just think of it in a more logical sense. In this, like, if I was going to go rent a car, I only need it for one of two reasons, probably, and that's either I need size to carry either cargo or passengers, so you need maybe a bigger SUV or truck,
okay,
or you just need to get from point A to point B, where you could just take an economy car.
Okay,
like I don't see why I would ever have to opt for this, Model 3 to rent or whatever. I just don't see that really being a scenario where I would need that.
I don't disagree with you. And here's the thing. I think that there's a novelty to some of these cars sometimes.
Yeah. If you want to look at an Uber driver.
Well, the problem is that there are enough of these EVs around now that you're seeing them pop up. So I don't know that everybody. I mean, you're always looking for the light, right? A little, but look. So here's kind of the last thing before we start to round out here.
Yeah.
I think first off, this is, I believe, going to kind of put a little bit of the used car market in perspective, because they're about to dump 11% of their fleet is made up of electric vehicles. And they're about to dump 20,000 Teslas, taking a $250 million loss just to get them out of their hair, because because they realized that holding them any longer would outpace that loss now and cost them more.
Yeah, so they can cut their losses. But and then they're going to put that, whatever money they have for it and reinvest it into internal combustion engine cars.
Yeah, and do I presumably think that there's a potential that they're smart enough to know that I mean, look, here's the thing. Even from a hybrid standpoint, why would they bother going to get hybrid cars? Because the only selling point you have is a rental car company that offers a hybrid vehicle, besides maybe some people that are actually worried about the environmental impact, is the fact that you can get more gas mileage, meaning that you'll have to spend less when you come back to the pump, right? When you bring the vehicle back, because you'll have to fill up less. But that may not be enough of a difference for the amount that you're going to charge in these cars. So what are they going to do? They're going to buy the internal combustion engines that they know they can get parts for. And that's the other thing. I think that we also realize now that when it comes down to these EVs, if you want to be able to really bring this thing all the way through, besides all the things we've already mentioned, Tesla and these other EVs, they're going to have to figure out a way to make a network of replacement parts that are much more readily available and much more affordable prices. Because the issue that Hertz was even experiencing is the rental cars. People are going to toast these things. Yep. Because the truth is, even if you don't have some sort of insurance that you're using or whatever it is, for $14 a day or whatever it is, you can buy insurance and drive it into a wall.
Yeah.
And so they got to fix these things. So when they go to fix them, they can't get parts.
Yeah.
And not being able to get parts, or parts being really expensive, or technicians needing to be trained more knowledgeable.
Yep. Yeah.
And so I just think this is, there are things that will work through over time, but we can't do it in 3 to 5 years. We can't do it in, I think it's going to be something that's going to take much longer. And I think all these vehicle manufacturers, the consumers, and basically everybody involved except, the automotive manufacturers, everybody that's involved except for the government has really realized that, wait a minute, not that we should get rid of it. We got to take a step back here. We got to think of this. It has to be an option.
We're just not ready.
We're not ready.
Yeah.
We're not ready. Things are not there yet. It's being pushed too hard, too fast.
Yep.
So, I don't know. You got anything else to add on this thing? We just kind of rammed through this, but the truth is, I just thought I saw that topic and I was like, I don't want to spend too much time talking about EV anymore, but it's such a like people say, oh, well, I hear all this speculation. This is a real world example of what really happened. And I just think every time I show up at the airport now and I go to get a rental car, there's a whole row of EVs and nobody's getting into them.
Yeah, it goes to show.
Just goes to show. Anything else?
I'm good.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Teslas that were owned by Hertz.
Yeah.
And for all those that are looking to get a used Tesla, this might be the time.
Would you buy one from Hertz?
That's an interesting question.
Yeah.
Would you buy a used vehicle from Hertz? Now, keep in mind, one last thing. The same way your iPhone starts to lose battery health as it gets older and has a number of charges, the same thing happens to electric vehicles. So you're buying this vehicle, good example. Max put it up on the screen for those that are listening on iTunes or one of the podcast providers. It's a you can get a 21 Tesla standard range sedan, right? I don't know why they say plus sedan, because aren't they all sedans?
They're all
Model 3s?
sedans, yeah.
Nah, that's ridiculous. Anyhow, you can get a standard range, a standard range plus. That's what it is. Sorry. Pardon my misspokenness. So you can get one right now. It looks like for about, with 87,000 miles on it, you can get it for $20,500. Somebody out there is going to feel that that's a steal.
Yeah.
I feel that that's a pending headache. That to me scares the crap out of me.
I saw that some of them are going to go as low as like $14,000 or whatever. I mean, at that price, I don't know. I mean,
well, let me put it this way. If that car with 86,000 miles was $14,000,
yeah,
I'd buy one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, but not 21.
No.
33% more, so.
No.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So, anyhow, those are my points. Let us know what you think. Throw it down in the comments. Let us know if you would get one of these used vehicles, but also let us know if you think this is a telling signal of what's looming ahead if we continue down the proverbial rabbit hole of only EVs are in our thought process. Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Peace out. Catch you on the next one.